Hello, I'm your host Gabe Cymbalista, and this is Cynicism on the Indie State Network. And today is our special guest, producer, and actor Steve Barton. How are you, Steve?
What is going on, kiddo? How are you?
Good. Long time no. I mean, it's been a few weeks.
Yeah, it's days, maybe something like that. But
Yeah.
anytime I get a chat, I get a chat. Anytime I get a chat, anytime I get a chance to talk to you, I jump on it because you're one of my
Yeah.
favorite people. You're cute, you're funny and entertaining, and it's such a conundrum with you because sometimes I just want to strangle you, but then I feel bad. So it's weird.
Yeah, I get that sometimes. I can be pretty annoying with my puns.
You're a walking
So
conundrum.
yeah, I am. I can be. I actually wanted to bring up to you. I
Hmm.
just rewatched Survival of the Dead for the first time in a
Oh,
while
wow.
today. And I had to take some screenshots while I was watching because I want to bring them up of you because I know you played a zombie in that, and I know George Romero was like a father to you.
Yes.
But here I wanted to bring up. Here's a screenshot of you as the zombie towards the end in the final climax, the climax of the film.
Yeah, man.
Amazing work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was crazy. I mean,
yeah,
it was like being on a George A. Romero set, aside from being excited about being a zombie, it was kind of
Mhm.
funny. For me, I mean, because George and I had been friends for several years before this happened. Uh, and me and another good friend of both of ours, Michael Felcher, he was a zombie too. Matter of fact, he was in Land of the Dead and Survival of the Dead, and that means he one upped me, the bastard. But anyway, um,
Really.
it was really interesting to me being on George's set. I mean, obviously, I was excited about being a zombie, right? I mean, who doesn't want to be a
Yeah.
zombie in a George Romero movie? But he didn't tell me what we were doing. I didn't know what my part was going to be at all until 5 minutes before it was scheduled to happen. And it was insanity, man. I mean, for me, it was more of a privilege to be there because I got to watch Picasso paint, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what it was really like to me. Because like half the time I'm pleased as punch to be standing around doing my zombie thing. Don't care about I was the happiest motherfucker in all of Canada. I can guarantee that. And it was an amazing time, man. And then at the last night I'm there, I was there for 3 days, right? And I did my background thing. I think everything's cool. This was fun. Yay, right? Then all of a sudden he comes up to me and he's like, "All right, Steve," because that's how George talked. George was like
Yeah, yeah.
an
He
old
was
hip.
very eccentric.
Yes, he was like, "All right, Steve. So this is what's going on. You are going to do the main kill of the movie with Michael and a couple of other people, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put the camera here. So you go over there, and this will happen here, and this will happen here. Oh, and by the way, we only have one body, so we only have one shot at getting this right. No pressure." No fucking pressure, right? Now it's like I had like this megaton bomb dropped on me, right? That all of a sudden, not only was I in a George Romero movie, but now I'm one of the lucky few who actually get to feast. And not only do I get to feast, I do the main fucking kill. But it was insane in that I had approximately 5 minutes to process this. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all I had. And I'll give you a little story about it. We had
Mhm.
one body and we had one shot. Okay. It's
Mhm.
Canada. It's 4 a.m., something like that. It's about 15 below zero. No shit.
Oh
It is
god. Really?
freezing.
On that island? Was that
Yeah.
really shot in an island? Yeah.
No, it was shot in a little town outside of, I think it was Hamilton. But
Okay.
anyway, so sitting there, it's fucking freezing. My brain is on fire because I just realized what I was about to do. And not only do I have to deal with all these little pieces, but now I'm like, I can't fuck this up. We only have one shot. because there's only one body. So I was jumping in place. I was cracking my neck. I was getting ready. I was breathing. And George yells over from Video Village. He goes, "You ready, Steve?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fucking ready. Let's do it." Right? So he calls action, and I just go flying through this split rail fence. I landed on like what had to be 8 piles of horse shit. I didn't care, right? All I knew is we had to get this done. Well, what nobody realized, neither George or K and B or any of the actors, was that because it was so cold outside, the body froze. And everything inside of it was frozen. So we're sitting there wrestling this body, trying to rip it open, trying to find the spine so the other people could pull the legs away. And it is not going. It's like we're literally, like, it's like you can't really tell on camera, but we have our fingers in slush, right? And it was frozen solid. I mean, it was like trying to break an ice cube with your bare hands. So it took what should have been like a 30-second like rip, ended up taking over 2 minutes. And I remember one time Michael was right in front of me. So I'm sitting there tearing, and we could hear each other. I'm going, "It's fucking frozen." He goes, "I know it's frozen. We can't do anything. We gotta do it." So I was like, "All right." And
just add the zombie moments in post.
Yeah, dude. So at the end of the moment, it finally breaks. George yells, "Steve, take a bite," and I just go for it, right? And the body came apart. There was steam coming off of the body itself.
As you're telling this story, I'm bringing up screenshots.
Yeah,
I took screenshots. I took screenshots while watching the movie.
That is all. That's Michael's bald head right next to mine.
Yeah,
and it was frozen solid. Like if you look at that right there, totally frozen.
Yeah, it looks like it's a little stiff. Yeah.
Yeah. Ha ha. Very funny. So
I actually wasn't going there, but nice catch.
You all right? So now funny. Fuck out of here! I know you better than that. So
Daniel loves me.
So, I do. So George comes over, and George is happy when he's laughing while he's shooting. Okay. So he comes over, and I could tell he was hysterical laughing. And Mike and I are just laying there exhausted because it took like everything out of us to get that thing apart. And I remember he comes over, he goes, "You okay, Steve?" And he's laughing. And I just dropped on my knees in front of him, and I hugged his legs, and I just said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." That was my life coming full circle, man. That was just probably one of the greatest moments of my entire life. And what a privilege, I mean, people, there's a lot of slander towards Survival of the Dead. Some people like it, some people hate it, and that's fine. It usually takes about 20 years for George's movies to find their audience for some reason.
Yeah.
So in another 10 years, it'll be a classic, and I'll be in demand, I guess. But it was just such an incredible experience, man.
It's definitely a different approach. The whole story between Seamus and what's his name was very unique, like about the zombies being humanized, but not in a civilized way, in the sense that they will eat what we eat. They will continue doing their routine. It was just very interesting. I just want to bring up this David Madison, one of our co-hosts.
Gabe rocks.
Yeah, and your old friend who said he hasn't seen you in a decade, Billy Coyne.
What's up, Bill?
He said he said he wanted to tune in tonight. He said he hasn't seen you in like a decade.
He just dropped a coin into your chat window. He'll understand
Pun intended.
He'll understand what that means, I promise.
Okay. I also want to bring up, this is another shot of you hugging one of the behind the scenes.
That wasn't from Survival of the Dead. That was
actually
a very talented artist named Stacy Lynn S. recreated
Right here, I know Stacy.
Right, she recreated that makeup
Stacy's a good person.
really for a signing at Scarecrow's. And it was the first time I was back in that makeup since we did the movie. And number one, she did such an awesome job of replicating it.
I've seen her work.
Yeah, dude. She did it in like half the time. And it looked, I would say, as good, you know?
Yeah.
That was
I thought it was the same one.
No. Chris Sembro.
I thought it was the same. Yeah.
Chris Sembro, who runs Scarecrows, which if you're even remotely a horror fan and you're in the area, you need to get your asses to Scarecrows. Screw all that spirit nonsense. It doesn't matter. Scarecrows is where it's at. So
Chris was hanging out with us 2 weeks ago, right?
Yes, Chris owns Scarecrows. He was kind enough to let me do the in-person makeup op and sign. And that was one of the first times I actually had the opportunity to sign somewhere. So I'm very, very grateful and thankful for Chris.
Yeah. Chris is a good guy.
He is.
Chris is a good guy, yeah.
Matt Bolia
says much
hey, you see this? You see this shirt? Badass, right? Matt Bolia designed this shirt. He's the guy.
Really?
He is the guy that took the time, having not even read the book, but just somebody who, it's amazing, man. It's like you live this weird life, you know, and especially me, I never thought anyone gave a shit anything that I did, okay? And you find out, I guess, later after doing it for just, I think last week it was 3 decades that I've been in the horror industry in one way or another. And Matt, you know, he was a fan of Terrifier and all that stuff. And he got in touch with me one day and I told him, you know, I got this book coming out, and we immediately vibed, you know, and it was really cool to be, because you know me, you see me, I love hanging around with the fans. That's what I do.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be the first one to get off the stage from doing a panel with hundreds of people and immediately go right to where the fans are, because that's where I belong. And you know, we were talking about the book, not really, because I don't want to spoil it for him or anyone else.
Yeah.
But he noticed when I was talking about the book, he's like, what is, he noticed the hashtag, "In Me I Trust." And I was like, well, you know, I had 2 hashtags when I first started. It was "In Me I Trust" and "Go Fuck Yourself Tour 2024. And because it is the book is like a go fuck yourself to everyone who told me I did something. And we turned it down to GFY Tour, but we talked about the meaning of it. And "In Me I Trust," it's sort of, in a weird way, kind of like my battle cry. You know what I mean, man?
Yeah.
It means something to me because every single person, I would say 99.8% of the people I have come into I've cared about in my life didn't give a shit about me. You know, they would just come at me out of nowhere, and I always realized that nobody's gonna help me, you know? Nobody's gonna do this for me. If I want to be successful, I need to trust in myself. And "In Me I Trust" applies to everyone who feels that way, you know? And on the back, it's a badass design. It says GFY Tour with a skull and fire. But yeah, Matt's a super talented artist. He actually just got the license for Return of the Living Dead. So he's making some badass fucking shirts.
Really? That's one of my favorite zombie movies ever.
Oh, check out his site. It's To Die For RVA.
I will.
It's great
stuff. If I don't remember, I'm going to reach out to you to get it. Okay. Ronald says, "What's up, gentlemen?
How are you, my brother?"
Yeah, Ron is gonna give me a ride to Cherry Hill from the train station when I come to Monster Mania. Him and his family have been so sweet.
Oh God, the blacks, man, they're like Danny and I's weird surrogate convention.
Just so you know, just so people know, we're talking about the black family, not the
That didn't make it easier or better, Gabe.
I have to make it awkward. I have to make it awkward.
Oh, and which black family are you talking about? No, it's
the Ronald Black family. The whole family's there.
No, it's funny. From doing the shows on the East Coast as opposed to the West Coast, where I was for 21 years, I started seeing familiar faces. And Linda and Ron have this adorable son, Brody. Just fucking incredible. This kid is a little rock star, right?
Good kid. Yeah.
And I started seeing them at like every show, and I'm now to the point where I get so excited to see the people I remember and the people who hang out with me than I am for anything else at the show. You know, we've become like a little weird carnival family. I think, you know, we're just a bunch of freaks who enjoy each other's company, and I'm very thankful and honored to have people like them and yourself in my life who lift me up, man, because if it's not for people like you and them and all the other people I get to meet and chill with at these shows, I don't exist. You know,
Our
I'm
community
still,
is like a family.
Yeah. So as happy as I am to be in this place, I think the thing that makes me the happiest is just being around the fans, because that's what I love. That's what I did. That's why I created Dread Central. You know, the interview before this one that I just did.
Somebody asked me, this is everybody. This is Dread Central. If you haven't heard of it, which I feel like most of you have.
Yeah, that was my baby. I was editor-in-chief of that for 18 years. But you know what?
Wow.
You know, the interview I did before this, somebody asked me a really interesting question because they looked at like the movies behind me and I have other shit over there, and they're like, what's your favorite thing to collect? And I really had to think about it, you know? And I think I came to the conclusion that the thing I love to collect most is memories. You know, the good time that I get to spend with Ron and Linda and Brody and Crystal and fucking all of them, man. Tammy and Alicia. I love you cats, you know? And it's the memories that I get to share with them that they share with me that I love collecting them, because you know what? All of this stuff could be memories. It's the only thing that can't be taken, you know?
Danielle says, oh, and Godzilla toys.
And Godzilla toys. Memories and Godzilla.
I know you love Godzilla. I agree with you in the memories because, you know, it's one thing to collect items that you could buy and resell and, you know, they have sentimental value, but there's nothing as valuable as memories.
No, not at all.
Like for and especially with friends, but things like I Halloween for John Carpenter at Monster Mania once. How often does somebody get to play Halloween for the guy who composed it? You know,
I know.
Like
that was amazing.
As much that to be able to do that is to remember being able to do that is like. But there are so many memories from Monster Mania and all these events that I will always cherish. And the photos I take, like that's why I like to take photos with everybody, because the photos keep them set in stone, not just in here, but digitally and virtual, you know, and physically, you know. Also, I just remember Billy says you've been at so many cons over the years. I remember the years at Rock and Shock. You and Sean Clark have always come across. Have always come across as the luminaires in the genre.
Thank you, man. You know, I never thought I would see the day where I was considered a luminary, you know? And sometimes, I got to tell you, sometimes, like this whole, I guess this past year, anytime I've been doing the show or an interview, people have been giving me these incredible fucking introductions, which I don't really even feel like I'm worthy for. And just like Billy just said, he considers me a luminary, and that's crazy. But thank you for that. That's very, very kind of you.
Sean Clark's a great guy. I actually want to bring up, this is a photo of you with Sean and George Romero. That's Sean in the middle, and George Romero and Eileen Dietz is covering her face.
Yes.
I know.
I don't even have that picture. I wish you'd send that to me.
It's on your Facebook page. It's on your Facebook page. That's where I got it.
That goes to show you, dude. After 30 years in the biz, you do some
there's
shit.
a photo with it.
That's
here's
the
a
one I
close-up.
know I have. But
But they're both on your Facebook page.
That was a magical day, man. We had just done, I think it was Spooky Empire, but back then it had a different name. But we had just done that show and we were in Florida. So George was like, hey, man, let's go to Universal, And who's going to say no, right? So him, Eileen, Chris Rowe, myself, Joe Netter, my ex at the time, we all got together. Suzanne, of course, George's wife, and we had a blast at Universal Studios, and that's so crazy, it goes to tell you, it really goes to show you, I guess, that if you work hard, like, insane stuff can happen, I never in a million years thought I'd be on the Spider-Man ride with George Romero, but there I was. And I think I was very lucky in that Sid Haig and George Romero took me under their wings,
Sid was
I don't know why. Looking back, it was probably poor judgment on their part, but they did.
We're our worst critic.
Yeah, and dude, I say it all the time. Those two as mentors, it literally is like Bigfoot deeming you cool enough to know that he exists, right? So I put in so many hours with both of them, and we built such cool relationships. Again, I used the term carnival before because that was at like in the middle of the golden age of conventions. That's when fucking conventions were nuts, and there was these giant fucking parties, and that shit don't happen anymore. But
there are sometimes some of them.
Yeah, but not like it was, dude. I know I sound like an old man. Well, back in my day, we really partied, but no, it was a.
You're not much older than me, I don't think.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
I'm 50 fucking 2.
You're only 15 years older than me.
That's a long time, dude. A decade is a decade.
I know.
But you know what?
I know.
You are somebody that I happen to think very highly of because you're a very motivated person. I've never seen you let anything stop you, and no matter what you want to do. And those are the type of people I love being around. So as much as I want to choke you with my shoelace sometimes, I love being around you because you just give off such a positive vibe. And, you have your issues, but you never let anything stop you. And I think that's amazing because, you know what, at the end of the day, we all have our fucking issues, man. And that's kind of what the book is about. A comedy of tragedies.
I just want to bring up the cover. This is Steve's book, everyone. That's coming out in December.
Yeah, once you
bring up the image.
Thank you. Once you read that book, you'll really understand the title.
Yeah.
And it's one of those.
I'm never gonna put it down. It's gonna be a page turner for me. I have no doubt.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's weird too because I'm getting really good reviews, and that's fucking strange, man. It's like people are like, oh yeah, you people are reviewing my life. That's weird, and it's very fulfilling too because the book at its heart. I'm not unique. I grew up in dysfunctional family circus. I had a lot of things against me, but we all do. It's not like a unique situation. We all have the shit that beats us down sometimes. But the book is about learning to cope with them and overcoming them and moving on. Mike Felcher, who was in Survival with me, was kind enough to say, Steve, what's the most impressive thing about this book to me is you've been through some shit that he didn't even know about, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm sure there's a lot that a lot of us didn't.
He said, for all that you went through to get where you are and be who you've become, Not once did the book ever come off as whiny or poor me or anything like that. And I think that I can attribute that to I can attribute that to just me not realizing how extraordinary the fucking circumstances that were at the time around me. You know, I mean, my life was so psychotic that Psycho was normal. You know, so when I hear people respond to certain things, and it blows my mind because I had no idea what I was doing or coping with. I just took the ride, and anytime anything busted me up, I put myself back together, and that's
Actually, sorry. I actually have a question for you because about 12 years ago, I started writing a book on Tourette syndrome and my life and battling with it and all the, difficulties and things I dealt with as a kid and in my youth and in recent years. I finished the draft 4 years after I started in 2016. I haven't edited significantly since, but what I have done with editing has increased the pages, but as it added more pages as opposed to deleting pages. And I know there's a lot of organization editing to do, but I don't want to make it a sob story. I want to make it a lesson, a series of lessons from my experiences for other people, not just with Tourette syndrome, but disabilities and anxiety and depression and stuff like that in general. So I feel like your book is going to be is going to help me structure mine, and I feel like reading it is going to really help me with getting back and editing mine, which is something I really want to do because I've spoken to so many people about it. I've even spoken to Jamie Lee Curtis about it, and she applauded me in front of a bunch of people. Carrie L. West, the Bates Motel cast, and I have so many people who know about it who I don't want to let down. People I don't even keep in touch with often anymore. I would love for it to get out there to help people with different issues. I hope your book does the same. And one thing I want you to talk about some of the reviews that you've talked about in your book, because I know Adriana Barbeau,
Adrienne Barbeau.
I'm personally your name. Barbeau said a lot of things about your book too, and she's a sweetheart. I met her once.
Yeah.
I don't have photos with her, but I love her.
You know, I think you were there when I did that last panel with her, and her son called, and I just put her son
on that one I missed. That one I missed, but you told me about it.
That was just hilarious. You know, that's the thing, dude. These people, Adrienne Barbeau and fucking Sid Haig and George Romero and Bill Moseley, my life has been a constant who's who. But I think that because I never treat anyone differently, like I'll treat you the same way I'll treat anybody. I think that's why we resonated with each other, you know, because at the end of the day, even though they are legends, it's like they're just people. And I'm very much a people person. And, you know, to be honest with you, I had no intention of even releasing the book. It wasn't something I was going to do. I was doing the psychological thing. And hey, Terry, I was doing the psychological thing, and I was going to write out all these shit that was in my head and all these fucking demons, right? And I was going to light that shit up and burn it and be done with it. Just get it all out of my system once and for all.
You don't want it to go to, I feel like burning it is going to waste. Like you just want to get it out. You want to share it.
Well, I didn't want to share it though. I didn't think anyone would care, you know?
Yeah.
So
I hear that.
Danielle one day comes up to me as I was working. She goes, "Hey, that book you started writing." I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "Can I see it?" I'm like, "Why? You know everything about me. We're fucking married, for God's sake." So I said, "Yeah," you know, and she at that time, I think it was like I had written over the course of 2 years and the book was half done. So I had given her what I had, and she sat down with it. She came back a few hours later and she goes, "You can't burn this. This is really fucking good. There are people who will read this and relate to your situation.
100%.
People that you might even be able to help with this." And that blew my mind too, because I never really thought I was living under any extraordinary circumstances. You know, I was just being me, doing my thing. And once she said that, I sat back and I started going through that, and everything was written in a first person narrative already. So what I did was I just made a couple of adjustments so I was speaking to the reader. The reader ain't going to be listening to me. I am speaking to the reader. You know, they're not going to have to worry about what's going on. I address everything directly with nothing but truth, or at least my truth. And it took another 2 years, but I finished it. The last part of the book was written on March 8th of this year, just to show you how current it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it comes out December 10th or 9th. I think it's 9th. And
something like that.
It's you can pre-order it
literally
now.
Right before last. It came out. You finished it literally right before last Monster Man.
Yeah.
Right before.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So that's how quickly this all came together. And you know, the people that have been in Cyclopocalypse have been great. They really have been, man. You know, I sent it over to them on December 10th. Thank you, Danny. And
thank you, Daniel.
I sent it over to them, and they immediately wanted it just because I wrote it, right? And that was very humbling, you know? And I said to them, I really appreciate that, but do yourself a favor and read it first, because this isn't just Uncle Creepy talking about Hollywood horror industry. You know, this is a very personal
real life horror too.
Yeah. So I said to them, read it. I don't know if this is something you're going to be comfortable releasing, but if you're down, let's talk about it. So about 2 weeks later, you know, both the guys at Encyclopocalypse, Sean, Mike, they said to me, we have to have this. We have to put this out. And I was like, wow, okay. And it's been like a whirlwind ever since. And I think the galleys will be ready, so I'll be able to hold it in my hands finally, which will be real, you know? Because right now it's just a PDF sitting on my computer. And it's just weird because it doesn't feel like I did something. You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel like I did it. And I think once I'll be able to hold it and touch it and open it and see the pages,
physical copy.
I think that will cement it for me that I actually did that, you know? And
in stone, yeah.
Another reason why I did it, and I'm sure you'll relate to this, and anyone watching who's a fan of anything related to the arts, the best advice I was ever given came from George. And it came when we were pissed drunk, so it's even funnier. But we sat there and we would, I think it was right after we recorded the commentary for Survival of the Dead. And we were just fucking inebriated. But he put his fucking hand on my knee and he said, Steve, and there's a Muppet of him sitting in between us, so that's even funnier. I have that picture of exactly, like right after that picture was taken is when he gave me this advice. He said, Steve, you got to do me a favor. And I'm like, what? He's like, promise me, just fucking promise me that whatever you do, whatever you start, fucking finish it. And I promised him. So I guess in a lot of ways, I finished that. And now it's going out to you guys. And it's a little unnerving that all of a sudden, you know, everyone is going to know every single thing about me, but I'm an open book, you know? I'm a fucking case study in dysfunction, you know? It's what I do. I'm no one has dysfunction like me. So it's going to be really interesting once that's brought out and people, I'm really curious to see what the reaction is going to be from like just the people who get it. And I hope that it kind of transcends the genre itself, because I wrote it to be a book for everybody, you know?
Yeah.
All the situations, even though they're horror related, are very relatable, you know? And there's half the book is personal experiences growing up, and the rest of it is fucking this loony 30-year ride that I've had in this industry. You know, it's all there. The Fangoria stuff, the Dread Central stuff, the fucking everything. It's all there.
I'm very excited for it. I'm very excited. Everybody check it out. December 10th. You can reserve it now.
Yeah, it's cool. Check this out, dude. If you go to encyclopocalypse.com, right? If you pre-order it, you get it like 3 weeks early.
Really?
And you'll get it signed by me personally. So
yeah,
there's a lot of reasons to go and pre-order it. And the shirts are available now, you know?
Yeah. No, 100%.
RVA.com, buy that shirt. This shirt.
Yeah. That's a great shirt. And Terry, you're right. I wanted to say that about George's advice. I love that advice by George. I'm that way with everything. Like even a movie or a TV show. I hate and I like even in a piece of music, a 3-minute piece of music, when people have music ADD in the car and they can't stay on one song, like just finish it. I can't, you drive me insane. I always love to finish what I start, whether it be work related, whether it be entertainment related, whether it be playing a piano piece. My Tourette's was so bad and I couldn't, I spent 6 hours trying to play one piece here. 2017, I had anxiety for the first time and my Tourette's was so bad. And I remember I sat there 6 hours and my Tourette's was so bad I couldn't get past the second page of a piece. And I was so on edge because something I could do in just a minute or less, I couldn't do in 6 hours. So like when I can't finish something, I go insane. So I know what he means by that 100%. Yeah. Ronald says we will be wearing our shirts to AC convention just for you. I want to just bring up Steve is going to be at this convention. My friends and Brandon Brooks are hosting this coming weekend, right? Or next weekend? Which one is it?
The weekend after this one.
After this one, yeah. Hold on a second. So I really wish I can make it, but budget-wise I can't because I already booked Monster Mania, but I would love to go. I hopefully make it next year.
Not a big deal.
Registration could be a good motivation.
Yes, yeah, no 100%. Kidding. You said a mouthful, but you know what? You know what I find that's really cool. Speaking of finishing what you started, man, I want to give a shout out to Joe Ridgely. Joe has taken the Indie Escape Network, and he's really, really, speak of the devil.
I brought this up.
He's really run with it. And there was a time when things weren't looking good for it to continue, and he found a way, and I love that. And again, that is that in me I trust attitude. There's always a way.
Joe's a good guy.
Joe is amazing. There's always a way to do something, and it's never no. It's always just how.
He's the one who gave me the opportunity to start to host the show. And I made a connection with the filmmaker, and that's how I got a job editing documentaries, which are really one of them is hopefully taking off soon. And I'm working on some films with the director that because of Joe working on Joe's show. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah,
I'm very grateful. I just want to, and like this. Oh yeah, sorry, Joe. I mean, sorry, Steve. And I just want to mention.
I'm just going to keep talking over you. Yeah, say something. I just
want to mention.
I'm going to talk right over.
This is Richard. He worked with your friend Darren, our friend Darren. He was in Spiral, Richard.
Yes.
Hey, love you make such a divisive time. I applaud both of you. Will be able to share your personal experiences to maybe allow a modicum of empathy, so we can meet somewhere in the middle.
Amen.
Thank you, Richard. Yeah, Richard's a good guy. I had him on my show with another one of his co-stars in Darren's movie Spiral, and Darren's also a dear friend. I actually want to bring up about Survival of the Dead. There's 3 of Darren's friends and cast members from Saw. There's Athena Karkanis, Julian Richings, and forgot his name. He was in Saw 4 and Saw 6. He played he pulled the lever on William Mason in Saw 6. He was in the drug clinic scene in Saw 4. Devin Bostwick.
Yeah,
so Bostic, yeah. So they were all in survival with you. So
Yeah,
it's just a small. Forget Six Degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's like you know somebody who cast somebody in a movie with you. You know, that's how it is.
Yeah, man, it's just been good. And you know what else? There's so much cool shit going on like right now. If you're a Halloween fan, especially, man, they just launched the Halloween portal, HalloweenPortal.com, and I am associated with them. And they have so much kick-ass stuff coming for Halloween fans. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you sign up at Halloween Portal, because I can promise you I've gotten a look behind the curtain, and what's behind the curtain is friggin' mind-blowing. So definitely do that if you haven't.
Speaking of Halloween, I spoke to Danielle Harris back in October, and I messaged her recently because she said she was going to try to get her and Scout on my show. So I was going to try to have the two of them on. So speaking of Halloween, yeah, they're awesome. Danielle's a sweetheart. I've known her for years.
Me too.
And Joe says means the world to me, guys. Terry says I'm usually appreciative of Joe's support with my projects. And Danielle says AC Celebrity Convention is July 25th to 28th at AC1X Studios.
See, this is why I married her. Okay? Because I don't remember shit. Okay?
And you're a special guest there.
And she was the one. She, like, if left to my own devices, I wouldn't do anything. You know, she's the one that makes sure that.
You.
Yeah, well, she's gorgeous. Yes, that's motivation in and of itself. But she always is there to point me in the right direction and to make sure I have what I need to be successful. And she's always thinking about ways that she could help me. And, you know, there's an old saying, behind every good man is a good woman. And it really applies to her. Doesn't apply to many, unfortunately. A lot of people out there, man. I mean, Rich brought up a really good point. We're all here, man. You know, this is, yeah, she's, he brought up a good point. We are all here. And I think compromise and meeting in the middle is exactly what we all need to do right now. You know, at the end of the day, no matter what our beliefs are or what our stances are, we're all human. And the most important thing we can do is listen and love each other. And that's how we make all of these problems go away. Or at least that's how we take the first steps in making all of this division go away.
You know, I love just the way you're talking about how things are more than just horror. Like, you watch this podcast that we have people on, and we're not just talking about horror. We're talking about human nature. We're talking about family. We're talking about friends. We're talking about community and unity. That's what the horror community is all about. That's what the fandom, the fans, a lot of the actors. That's how it is at these conventions. I would love for more people to experience that, and I would love to take more friends to these things. You know, I actually wanted to bring up, because you also, one of the last times I was with you at Montania, you interviewed Greg Nicotero. I took this photo at your Q&A with him, and he's going to be
any more laid back, man. You know, that's what's.
He's going to be here with you.
Yeah, that's what's really cool. And believe me, you know how lucky I am. I am extraordinarily lucky. But the reason why I do panels still, even though I don't have to, is one, because the people who are on, they're my friends. You know.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a completely different interview than you're gonna see anywhere else, because they're comfortable with me and they know that I'm not gonna hit them with fucking some nonsense that'll make them look silly or get stupid or whatever the fuck.
You're not just hired for the hell of it. You know them. You know what
to
man.
Ask,
I mean, not
you
to ask.
See me, man. I get on the stage. I don't care who it is. I turn the chair around. I sit down. I mean, look at that picture. I couldn't be more comfortable. You know, it's ridiculous.
It was chill. I have a picture. And he's like, he still has his hand on his heart. Like, he's like, he's so chill. I met him once before on the Walking Dead cruise I went on. I went on 2 of the 4 of them, the first one and the 4th one. And I met him on the first one. He was so laid back, so chill, such a nice guy. Like, he was having fun on stage with what's his name? Norman Reedus, and they were just, he's such a cool guy. Same thing with the majority of the Walking Dead cast. And I have another friend who has got to be a zombie on The Walking Dead. Like, how often do you get to do that? You know, that's like you feel about Survival of the Dead. Like, to be a zombie in one of George Romero's films, I feel like Simon Pegg was probably just as excited for the success of Shaun of the Dead, just as excited to be a zombie in Land of the Dead as he was for the success of Shaun of the Dead. Because how often do you get to be a zombie in one of George Romero's films?
You know, it boils down to this, man. It's a very...
Oh, I'll bring that up in a second, Billy.
It's a very interesting thing, man. It's it's so strange, you know. It's like it's an honor, you know. That's the only way to look at it. It's an honor. I thought my bucket list was done, you know. I literally have done pretty much everything I could want to have done in the industry, just short of a couple things that I'm already working on and have cooking, which are awesome. But just when you think, and that's the beauty of life, man, just when you think that there's nowhere else to go, like 7 other doors open up. And the hard part about it is just staying in the game long enough for these doors to open. You know, a lot of people, I've seen so many people over the years tell others, you know, you're never going to do this, you're never going to do that. And these people, unfortunately, the people who do that are never going to be much more than they are right now. They're dreamers who forgot how to dream. And any dream, if you work hard at it, attain it. Dude, I'm a street kid from Brooklyn, thrown out of high schools with a GED education. I taught myself how to code at the dawn of the internet. I taught myself how to write in HTML. I taught myself how to interview people. I taught myself how to do everything. I taught myself how to screenwrite. You know, everything I've done or I've accomplished, I taught myself because I said to myself, why not? Why can't I? Like I always do, never know, it's always how.
Yeah. You know, I could really relate to that. You know, like you were talking about when you're talking about your book and not having people believe in you. When I was young, I had my first production job before I went to college when I was like 18.
Amazing.
Yeah, and in the community, it was just like filming and editing school and charity event videos and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was other stuff too. Now, I know everybody knows the film industry is hard to get into, but that was my dream since I was 5 years old. I love horror movies, and just so you know, I wasn't depraved. I grew up on just telling everybody. I grew up on the classics like Bride of Frankenstein, House on Haunted Hill. I guess I'll mean Frankenstein was the film that introduced me to horror movies.
Me too.
And I remember when the Horror Hall of Fame was on TV and Robert Englund hosted, and I love that. I taped it on VHS as a kid. Now, I always wanted to work in film. And I was told, even by my family and my friends, it's realistic, it's so difficult. And now, if somebody told me 15 years ago even that I would be best friends or good friends with a lot of the actors I grew up loving and the filmmakers I look up to and being praised and told me I'm loved by some of my favorite actresses and filmmakers and having my piano videos and my puns praised by James Wan and Darren Bousman and all these guys and Steve and all these people and the Saw actors and the cast of my favorite movies ever. I never would have believed them. And Darren said he wants to work with me he knows we're going to work together at some point. My friends in the industry, Eva Hamilton, who loves you, she was going to come with me to Monster Mania, but she can't make it. She's dying to meet you. She said she would hope she worked with Josh Stolberg. She was hoping Josh can make it. Like, she wants to work with me. I have all these friends in the industry who want to work with me. And I'm surprised I don't cry more often because, you know, once I don't know if you saw the A&E docuseries I was on, but I was found in a Jewish newspaper by a producer who was looking for somebody who has Tourette syndrome for a web series, a docuseries on A&E called The Employables. It was originally in the BBC in Canada, and they decided to bring me on for the first American season. They only did one season, but I got a job out of it, which I'm no longer there after COVID. But one day I was sitting there and I started crying to myself, and I said, I never thought I'd get this far in my life. I never thought I've been doubted. I doubted myself. I never thought I'd get this far. And I'm so grateful that, like, no matter how many times I doubted myself and wanted to die and dealt with depression and anxiety and suicide, and I came so far, and I'm so grateful, and I'm so happy for all the people in my life and all the people that I'm friends with now who look up to me and love me as much as I love them. And you know, it's so rewarding on a level that you can't put into words. Like, as much as I say, I can never put it into words. And Steve, you're one of my dearest friends in the industry, and you're one of my dearest friends. And I wish we could spend more time together. But every time I get to see you, and also you give some of the best hugs. I'll admit that you give some of the best hugs. Suffocating wise, but I know that's like, you don't have to strangle me. You suffocate me when you hug me. But it's like I can't express the gratitude I feel for, and how I never gave up. Like you said, like George Romero said, you finish what you started.
Yep.
And that's how it is.
And you trust in you.
Amen. And it's not selfish to trust in you. The only thing selfish is when you do things at the expense of other people. And listen, we've all done that, and we all have regrets, but we want to make things right by ourselves and others. We want like my thing growing up, wanting to make everybody happy when I wasn't making myself happy. So and now I'm finally reaching happiness. Even when I get to my lowest, I realize how far I've come, so I'm still happy even with my pain. So I still have that level of happiness, which I'm very grateful for.
You know, and here's the thing.
Yeah, thank you, True Billy.
You know, the funny thing about people is we never realize how much we have in ourselves. You know, I've had the fucking rug, and again, this isn't me being, oh, woe is me, but I've had the rug put under me so many times that me and like Square One, we're besties, okay? Me and Square One, we roll deep, right? But when I've learned over the years, because you just get hit with all these different things sometimes, and you get knocked down, you know, you get knocked out, but when you come to and you're looking around and you're on your ass and these walls around you are so fucking big, it's who you are that's going to dictate what you do. You know, you gotta look in your heart and you say to yourself, I know I can get out of this. And during that moment of chaos, something beautiful happens. And the beauty in chaos is it's those decisions that you make when you have nothing left, when everything is fucking burning around you. It's the decisions that you make in those moments that are going to shape who you become and build your character. So I've learned to just embrace it, man. Shit's gonna go wrong. You know what? When things are good and fucking fine and you're happy and laughing, that shit is easy. It's not living. Living is making the tough decisions and looking in toward yourself and realizing that you do have enough fucking gas in your tank. As long as you just stay steady and you keep moving, you can make anything happen. And you're living proof of that, dude. I'm very proud of you. Man. When people say, who was that? After you walk by and I threatened to choke you with my shoe.
Shoelace.
No. Sometimes I want to choke you with my shoe. It's like soft. Get it around and I wouldn't leave the I'm just saying.
But you know, I know why. I know why.
Right. But they say, you know, sometimes they'll ask me, who is that? And I go, you don't know who that is? That is Gabe fucking Cymbalistic. It's fucking awesome. And you are.
Thank you, man. I actually really want to bring up, if I had the rights to it, I'd bring it up with the song I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Chumbawamba.
I freaking Chumbawamba by them. I freaking love that song. I just want to bring up, Terry says, the relationships between so many wonderful people in the horror community is everything. So grateful for all the support I've had over the years. Such great friends here.
Amen.
I wish the mainstream, media and more of the award shows would recognize horror for what it is. It is an art form, and the community, and the it's a gift. Yes, there's some really over the top gore, but that shouldn't be frowned upon because it's not. It's not accepted.
It's latex and Cairo syrup. Get over it.
Exactly.
It's not real, man. You know what?
Yeah.
I always thought that for a good part of my career, I always thought that for at least, I'd say the first 5 years or so, that, and I grew up believing this, that everybody would look at me like I'm a freak because of what I love. And it's not the case. We're not freaks, dude. Those people, those motherfuckers who judge us and cast their stones, they're the freaks. We're just good people that enjoy having a good time and with good company. So fuck them. They think I'm a freak. I said it before, I'll say it again. I'm a proud freak. I love being a freak. Fuck them. Fuck them all.
Listen, I agree, but I would say it's not the judging, it's the condescending. It's the ones who condescend. We all judge. Everybody judges. It's condescension that is really the issue. That is more what bothers me than simple judging. Ronald says we've met the best people at HorrorCons, lifelong friends, present company included. Thank you, Ronald. Thank you.
I love Ronald. He's such a good dude.
His whole family, they're so great. And Brody's gifted. Susie. I'm getting the name with the wife. I feel so bad.
Linda.
Ronald's wife. What?
Linda.
I'm sorry. I'm so bad with names. I'm sorry, Linda. Forgive me. You could slap me when you see me at Monstermania.
Or she could just ask me to do it, and I'll do it for any reason.
Yeah.
Cool. One time, I think I saw them at, I think it was I Heart Horror Day, and Linda, Ron, and Brody came in, and I saw them from across the room, so I started waving and smiling, and Linda looked at me, and she looked behind her, and I'm like, "No, you!" You know,
it's modesty.
Yeah, man.
They're a very modest family. They're a very modest family. They're a great and they're probably the most welcoming group, family. I remember when they were meeting Eugene Clark at Monstermania, and he just loved them, and I was taking the photos and the videos for them. He's great.
Daddy. That's another really cool gift, man. It's like Ken Foray. I'm alumni with that, man. We're in this little super special little club, and I love that.
She forgives me. Okay, Steve. Sorry, Steve. You're not going to be able to strangle me, at least for that reason.
Damn it! Why do you have to end on a sour note, Gabe?
Well, I actually want to. Well, we're gonna have a few more. We're gonna go over time a few minutes, if that's all right with you, because I wanted to bring up Chrissy Fox's and Spider-One's movie Allegoria, the anthology that was really great. That I really wanted to talk to you about, because that started off the bang. The opening, sequence was crazy.
I've been lucky enough, I guess, from being around for so long, that I can spot talent, and, of course, through Power Man 5000, I knew of Spider, but from being in the industry, we've got to know each other. And he came to me one day and he's like, Steve, I have this idea. There's something called Allegoria that I think I want to turn into a feature film or make it a series or blah, blah, blah. And he showed me it, man. And I was like, wow, this is right in my fucking wheelhouse, man. It's like Night Gallery and all this good
I love Night Gallery.
Existential horror and just fucking lunacy on the screen. And what's cool about Spider is, even though he's Rob Zombie's brother, he has a completely different directorial style. and he's just that guy is pure talent from music to movies, and I can't wait to see what he does next.
I regret not going up to him and Chrissy at Halloween last year, 2 years ago, because I was there and I didn't know they were your friends. I didn't know who they were at the time. I was at a distance taking photos, so I should have gone up to them and introduced myself. But next time I know. I actually want to bring up my friend Richard says, and because I want to bring this in front of you. You said the Saw movies literally saved your life during our interview with All Gentleness. Can you elaborate? And Steve knows I'm very annoying with the Saw puns and everything. But
Show
the
him your
Saw
shirt.
movies.
Show him your shirt.
Oh yeah. I gotta show you, Richard. This is my shirt. Saw and Order.
Motherfucker.
Yeah. Saw movies. Each movie has several lessons. The first movie was more about appreciating your life, but it was the end twist that really got me. But when Saw 2 came out, they were less. It was at a time where my grandmother was dying of Alzheimer's, and it helped me deal with my grandmother's. Thank you, Richard. Thank you. But Saw 2 at the time helped me deal with my grandmother's. She was losing herself, and we were losing her. Saw 3 helped me deal with forgiveness, and I learned to forgive, even though I don't necessarily have to trust people after I forgive them. I could still forgive them because forgiving them only hurts me. Saw 4 helped me with letting go of things I can't let go of. I still deal with that issue. Saw 5 remind me to work together with people. Saw 6. There were different ones about also there were also lessons of forgiveness in Saw 6. Saw 7 was don't lie, don't cheat, don't deceive. Saw 8 was admit the truth. It could only hurt if you don't admit your faults. Spiral was more about corruption, and Saw 10 was about Saw 10 was more niche because it was about these people who deceive cancer patients, but it was about setting the record straight, setting justice right in all situations. And in a lot of situations, innocent people died. And though Jigsaw is seen as a murderer by many, to me, he's like Tobin says, he's a theologian, he's a philosopher, he's a doctor, he's a psychologist, he's a genius. He may be sinister his methods, but his justice system is an effective one. And he does more, I'll tell you, he does more research than the news, the freaking cops, the freaking government. Like, he makes sure that the people he tests are bad people who've destroyed lives, people who've burned others. And though there is conflict and corruption within his legacy, he, as Jigsaw, was always pure as a system of justice. And there are a lot of lessons in the Saw movies. I could elaborate more. I could go on forever. I could write a book on it. I even have a book about.
You probably should. They say.
Yeah,
They say to write what you know, man, and you're like a fucking authority on this shit, like I've never seen. But I relate to that, and I think that's one of the reasons why I relate to you, because when I was growing up, my dad was an alcoholic, and he was a bastard. And I learned all of my values from watching George A. Romero movies. That's where I got my moral compass, was from watching it. And it just, every movie, it's never the big bad that's the problem. It's always the people, and learning.
It's the ones that are viewed as antagonists are really the protagonists, and whether the protagonists are. It's like Walking Dead. Like, we are the Walking Dead. The living people are the issue during the zombie apocalypse, not the zombies. It's the living people, the broken ones.
Always the living.
Yeah. Joe says, great show, Gabe, Steve. Always a pleasure having you on the network. I really dig the motivation and love you spread. Thank you, man. Thank you, Joe.
Billy aces with me.
randomly and obligatory. Fulci lives. I love Fulci's Zombie too. That's one of my favorite movies too.
I'm gonna.
I just want to bring up one last. Getting to know Steve as well as others in the industry has been such a blessing, Gabe. I absolutely love hearing your story. Steve, love you, brother. The passion here is so beautiful. And let's end on this note. So, Steve, thank you so much for coming on. If there's anything else you want to say or bring up or plug, please go ahead.
You know what? I'll do it. Fuck it. I've spent my entire life as horror's biggest cheerleader, and I am happy to have done it. And the book that's coming out is something that's just so unapologetically me. So everyone who buys a shirt, everyone who reads the book, I'm not plugging it. I just want to say thank you. If you've pre-ordered it, thank you. If you buy the shirt, thank you. It means a lot to me because this is obviously my most personal project, you know? And I'm really looking forward to talking about it with people and hopefully helping them. And Gabe, you do an amazing job with what you do. Again, you're an inspiration. You inspire me to keep going, you know? And Joe is another one, and Matt, and everyone who showed up tonight, Richard. Thank you all for just tuning in and hanging out with us for a little while. It means the world to me, and I know it means the world to Gabe. And you know, maybe I'll think about these moments a little more and want to strangle him less every now and then. You know, I don't know.
You
Maybe.
make me cry. But yes, Steve, thank you so much. I can't wait to read the book. I feel like it's going to inspire me more, in addition to the inspiration you've already given me. And hopefully we will get to work on a project together one day soon. And but who knows? And I know when you're working, when is a good time to annoy you, and when is not a good time to annoy you. I got a professional. So
you know what?
we'll
You're the
always
only person I don't mind when they annoy me. I don't know why. It's like
because it's so lovable that my annoyance is easy to look past.
You're like the cute little puppy that keeps pulling on your leg. You know, he's just,
well, you know, you remind me of that. Well, at least you didn't say humping my leg. There's that famous line that I love to post. If a puppy stabbed me in the face and stole my car, I'd still be like, "Aw." So that's the puppy I am to you.
Yes.
If I stabbed you in the face and stole your car, you'll still be like, "Aw," but you still want to strangle me.
Pretty much. I hate you, and anyway, I love you.
Love you, Linda and Brody and Ron. We love them too. They're awesome. I can't wait to see them soon. Yeah, 2 weeks, 2 more weeks, guys. We're all gonna hang out again. Joe, Steve, everyone, I love you guys. We'll talk soon and have a great night.